This is a set of tubing that I'll use for traveling. So it goes easy into a suitcase. The first one is the exercise cuff. Great for sidestepping. And I'm going to show you another option using the hamstrings in just a second. This is what to do. Sidestepping. Keeping that tension in the tubing the entire time. Here's what not to do. You step in and you let the tubing go slack. You're missing half of the work. So you want to be sure to keep that tension in the tubing. Here we go. So this is a great hamstring and glute and abdominal exercise right here. So I'm going to show it on this side a little more conservative. So if you're not quite sure this one works for you, you start here, front foot really just stays in place, and you're going to lift that back leg. It's almost as if you're reaching to the floor. You could put a chair or an ottoman in front of you. And now on the other side, I'm going to show a little more advanced. So you can add some action with that front leg and either kick it forward or my preference, and you'll see in a second here, with a knee lift in front and a leg in the back. And that really sets your hips straight in a little bit more alignment. Core gets activated as well. Great for the glutes. Now, a small band, sidestepping. Here I'm showing the most advanced version first. Putting it around your foot works your glutes more. However, requires a lot more strength, and it's not the place to start if it's your first time. Ankles, a little bit more conservative. This is kind of the intermediate version. It's a little less strain on the lower back, but there still is some, and if you have knee trouble, you want to go all the way up and over the knee. Best place to start. There's still glute work, just a little bit more conservative. You want to observe the same rule. Keep the tension in the band. So you're going to keep those steps nice and wide. You're working both legs that way, the lead leg and the trail leg. Now there's another way to work this too, actually, going forward and back. So you're going to reach forward with your steps, keeping your knees wide apart, and you're working on the pelvis. Now you can do this backward and you point back with the tailbone. Going forward, you want to take your tailbone forward like John Wayne. You can see now how wide I'm keeping my legs and how much I'm actually leading with my pelvis. I lead with it again, going to the back. Now here's problem solved. Usually working with tubing or working at home, unless you're using strength training with dumbbells, with your body weight, it's hard to get rowing actions or pulling actions in that actually help posture by working the back. Using the tubing and a door adjustment that'll keep it stable and not snapping back at you, you can do rowing activities. So I show them standing and then seated, more like water skiing position, straight arm and bent arm rows, working the lats and the rhomboids and the trapezius, big muscles in the back. But you don't always want to go from high to low. You can put it anywhere along the door, up, middle, or down low. Do rowing again, or in this case, I'm demonstrating core exercise. So this is a great way to get rotation in without having to need a cable machine. So just showing it on the other side. The important part here when you're doing rotation is that the handles stay directly in front of your chest and you're rotating each one. Just giving you a sample of a few repetitions of each and some options to do with the tubing. So in this one, underneath my feet, hooked on the arch of my shoe so it won't slip up, and crossing the handles, keeping the elbows soft on that one. Now I'm doing it for an upright row. And then last but not least, I can use that same tubing for a squat.